Welcome all to the Classic Car Life and to a slightly different style video. I thought today, because 2016 is nearly over, why not have a look back on some of my highlights and some of my best bits from throughout the year. So I've been to hundreds of amazing events, been in and around some of my dream cars. So without any further ado, let's get on to the first clip and see what my first highlight from 2016 is. My first highlight of 2016 then happened all the way back in January. We took a trip to Brands Hatch in our Jaguar C-Type for its first ever track day. We went along with two friends, one in a 930 Turbo and the other in a Lotus 11. It was a very wet day, we didn't get up to too high speeds, didn't push the car too much, but it was great fun. In this clip here, you can see the Lotus 11 parked alongside our C-Type, and then later you can see the 930 Turbo parked in the bay next to it. Here's a little bit of track footage so that you guys can get a better idea of the day and the track conditions. Moving on to number 2 then, and to the first time I attended the Goodwood members meeting back in March. This was made especially fun because we took two cars down to the event. I travelled in the lightweight E-Type and we had our friends in the Austin Healey 106 rally car that you guys now know has been sold. But either way, it was great fun taking two cars down to the event. The members meeting is almost a smaller revival. There's a lot less people, a lot smaller crowds, so you can get much closer to the cars and see much more of the action. It was made even more special by the all GT40 race, so 20 plus GT40s racing into dusk. What an experience. I love the GT40s, so seeing over 20 of them on track at once was an experience I'll never forget. Have a look at this.
Up into second place in Richard Myers' car. Yes, just on the exit of the start. Coming out got into bearing.
Number 3 then comes from the time we took the Austin Healey up to London for a day. Now there were no events on, but we decided to cruise up to London and get something to eat. We also found out on our journey that although the Austin Healey is a great rally and race car, it's also a perfectly adequate GT car. Even with its 4-speed gearbox, once you flick the overdrive on, the car is perfectly good at cruising on the motorway, and we got to London without any dramas. It was also great seeing another classic, an E-Type, on the road whilst we were driving around London. My next highlight then comes from the Audley End Tulip Style Rally event that we attended. Now this event is mainly a highlight because the C-Type had been away for months and we were itching to get it back, use it and use it properly. This explains why I titled the video, How to Overtake in a Jaguar C-Type. Take a look at some of this footage. highlight then, and this one is a little bit of a strange one and comes from the time that I attended the Goodwood Soft Top Sunday Breakfast Club meet. Now it's not the actual meet which is the highlight, instead it was a drive over, because I drove over with Toby in his awesome Cobra. The reason this drive was so good is because we had open roads and some beautiful sunshine, so we cruised all the way to Goodwood with no traffic in some great conditions. Number 6 then, and this is the big one, and comes from my first time visiting Castle Combe Motor Circuit. Once again, we were heading out on track in a Jaguar C-Type for a good day's racing, but there's one moment that stood out above the rest, and it's when we found ourselves sandwiched between two Jaguar D-Types flying around Castle Combe Circuit. Me speaking does not do this moment justice, so have a look at this footage. As you saw then, it was pretty crazy racing around track with two Jaguar D-Types, but now I think it's time for another highlight, and this one comes from the time we went cruising with 10 plus Aston Martins. Now they were modern Aston Martins, but when we got to a tunnel, this happened. Might be quite a bold statement, but I think I can say that was the best and loudest tunnel run I have ever been on. Them Aston Martins with the V12s were so loud. But now I think it's time to move on to highlight number 8. Highlight number 8 then, pretty short and sweet, comes from the time I picked up the Sebring Sprite. Here's a few clips from when I picked the car up. Move on, and we're back at Castle Combe and to the time we took the Austin Healey on track in the wet. We got some great slides, some great sideways action, and also managed to keep up with some of the higher horsepower cars in the wet, greasy conditions. 10 then, and probably the highlight of my year, comes from the 2016 Goodwood Revival meeting. Now there's two clips I want to show you. The first happened on the Saturday and the second on the Sunday. On the Saturday, I went out in a Mark III GT40 road car. Now this is a 1 of 7 car, there's only 7 of them in the world, they're so rare, and it was a dream come true. I was absolutely shocked that I got the opportunity to do this. The track was wet, but have a look at this footage.
Alright, so guys, I was in the paddocks and I spoke to Gary here, and he offered me a lift out in his GT40. So you join me now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, going around the Goodwood Motor Circuit in a Mark III GT40.
This one is advertised at 306.
So we've got 306 horsepower coming through the rear wheels on a wet Goodwood track.
And on this track, since it's so slick, we're not doing what we normally do. We've got to kind of take it easy.
So on the dry track yesterday, what sort of speed were you getting up to, Gary?
We were running up somewhere around 120, which is just nothing on a dry track. Doing course car runs. We have this out. We have the Ford Motor Company's Mark III, their Mark II, and this Mark III out after yesterday was after every qualifying session. And every qualifying and practice session. Today, it hadn't been out much, just simply because it's so wet, and they're doing actual races today.
Yeah.
So we haven't been out there out 13 times yesterday.
As you guys saw, the Mark III Road Spec GT40 was incredible, but now it's time to move on to clip number 2 and to the Sunday of the revival. Now I can't believe I'm saying this, and I can't believe I had this opportunity, so I'd like to thank Ford once again for making it happen. I got to go out in the Mark II GT40 race car that won the 1966 Le Mans. Now this was incredible, something I will never forget. The car was so loud, so aggressive, wow.
That is awesome.
As I said then, I'll never forget that amazing lap of Goodwood in the car that won the 1966 24-hour Le Mans. But now it's time to have another highlight, and this one comes from the Warren Concourse Tour. Now the whole tour was incredible, but the one moment that stood out above the rest was when I found myself next to Max Chilton in his genuine AC Cobra, chasing our lightweight E-Type down an open road. Now this was so much fun, so much noise. Have a look at this and enjoy the noise and speed. To move on to my final highlight, and if you've watched my latest video you know exactly what it is. I went up to London to go out in the Fangio XK120 race car. Have a look how I got on.
One thing I think it's a common perception that classic cars are boring and break down and are slow.
Far from it.
I've never had so much fun than being in this car.
As you guys have seen them in this video, 2016 has been an incredible year. I've met some awesome people and been and seen some amazing cars. I'd like to thank all of you for supporting me and joining me in my adventures to help prove that classic cars are not boring and slow. As you know, I love using and enjoying classic cars, and that is what you're going to see a lot of moving into 2017. As always, like and subscribe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.